So in this lesson 2.2, we're going to talk about logic and truth values and just how we can kind of come to some different conclusions about things. So let's go ahead and talk about what a truth value is. A truth value, it's either true, which we use T, or false, and we use an F to represent that. So a negation, when we negate something, we are talking about the opposite meaning and truth value. A compound statement is going to be for a conjunction. That's when we have two or more statements joined by the word and or. I'm going to bold and underline those, and or. So that is a conjunction, two or more statements joined by the word and or. And then a disjunction is two statements joined by the word or. So this or this, that's a disjunction. And then a conjunction is two or more statements joined by the word and or. So let's go ahead and take a look at our first example here. We're going to use the following statements to write a compound statement for the conjunction, then find its truth value. So this one says P and Q. So we're going to combine P and Q, and we're going to make it an and statement here. So 1 foot is 14 inches, there's our first part, comma, and September has 30 days. So if we're looking at our truth statement here, the first part is false, and then the second part is true. So if the conjunction of P and Q for this one is going to be false, okay, since we have one false statement in there. Okay, so if we kind of looked at it separately, this is false, this is true. So overall, the statement together is going to be false. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead and take a look at this next one. What this little fancy squiggly means is not P, so we want to say the opposite of what P would be. That's the negation. And then this little upside down V here, that means and then our R statement. So we're going to say not P and R is basically what we're going to be typing here. So a foot is not 14 inches, and a plane is defined by 3. Oops, my R is different. And June, if I could write the right R, is the 6th month of the year. There we go. So there's our R statement right copied down. So if we kind of look at each of our statements here, this is true. A foot is not 14 inches, and June is the 6th month of the year. So those are both true. So this is going to have a truth value that is true for that statement. All right, so let's go ahead and look at this example down here. Not Q and not R. So a square, and then we're going to put does not, because we're negating our Q. We're saying not Q, not Q. And then we're saying not R, so we need to negate. So does not have 5 sides. And then we need to add our word and, since we have that upside down V shape, that's the word and. It's almost like an A without the little line. And a turtle is, and we want to say it's not a bird because it says it's a bird here, and we want to again negate because it has that little squiggly. So we are going to say is not a bird. There we go. A square does not have 5 sides, and a turtle is not a bird, which both of those are true. So since both are true, this would have a truth value. All right, so for this next one, P or Q, we have the word or this time. So we're going to add the word or right here. So AB, segment AB, is proper notation for segment AB, or centimeters are metric units. So our truth value for that one, if we kind of break it down, we can see that this one is true because that is the proper notation for segment AB, and then centimeters are metric units, so true there. And so on this one with or, as long as one of them is true, we are true, but they both are, so we're definitely true on that one. So notice that this has flipped upright, so this means or. This symbol right here, that means or. So Q or R. So what that's going to look like is centimeters are metric units, or 9 is a prime number. So this one is true because this first part's true. So we know that the centimeters are metric units, so it really doesn't matter what this is. We know it's got to be true because the hypothesis is true. So it doesn't matter with the or. So not P or R. So AB is not proper notation for segment AB. And then we need to add our word or, since that's what is in between here. Or 9 is a prime number. So this is false, because we already talked about that it is proper notation, and this is false. So when they're both false, it is false on that one. All right, so our truth statement is false on that one. All right, so in this next one, how many total students are enrolled at school for tap, jazz, or ballet classes? Well, tap, jazz, ballet, and then we have the overlap in the middle here, so we actually need to just add all these numbers up for our total. And total is 164 when we add all those numbers up, and that's how many total students are enrolled in tap and jazz, in jazz and ballet, and just jazz and just ballet. So that overlap is like them in both, or 9 are in all of them. But since it says or and not and, we want to include tap, jazz, and ballet, all of them, not just tap, jazz, and ballet exclusively. That would be just the 9 in the middle. So in this next one, how many students are enrolled in all 3 classes? That's that question right here. In the middle, those are the ones enrolled in tap, jazz, and ballet at the same time. So that's that middle number 9. How many students are enrolled in tap or ballet? So since this says tap and ballet, and it's the or, it's not the and, it's not the overlap, we have to include actually all of them, because it could be, but then we also, let's go and circle these, we also have these that are within that tap circle and these that are in that ballet circle. So we technically need all, there we go, all of these, because those are within the ballet and tap circle. So tap or ballet. So adding all of those up is going to get you 121. How many students are enrolled in jazz and ballet? So that's that one that they're enrolled in both. So that is going to be, let's see, jazz and ballet is just this one right here. So that 25 is the overlap of both. And then last one, how many students are enrolled in jazz and ballet but not tap? So we know, well, that was 25 that were enrolled in jazz and ballet, but not tap. So we need to subtract this 9 that is also jazz, ballet, and tap. So subtract or add the 9 because that would be both, but then subtract the 9. So we're ending up with 25. That's just the jazz and ballet, which you can kind of see here. Basically, this is both, but then we don't want to include the tap, so we're just kind of, talking about just those 25. All right, let's talk about this truth table here. So if we're going to negate P, that means we're going to do the opposite of its truth value. So the opposite of true is false. The opposite of true there is false. Opposite of false would be true. We're just taking all of our P's and negating. Not Q, so again, same thing for this column. False, because we're negating, doing the opposite. True, false, and then this last one, opposite of false, would be true. So now we're going to combine P or Q. So when we have or, we basically, if there is one true one, it's going to make it true. So P or Q, true or true, well, it's definitely going to be true. True or false, well, we have one true, so it's definitely going to be true because we have a truth in there. False or true, well, we have that truth in there, and again, since it's or, we get to kind of almost ignore the false because we get to pick. So false and false, well, there's no hope. They're both false. Now with and that's what we have in this column here because it's the upside down, the and, we don't get to really choose. It's just kind of what we have there. So true is going to be true. True, and then we have a false in there, so that means it's going to be false. False and true, again, we have that false kind of bringing us down because we have to include it in the and then false and false is going to be false. All right, so now we get into our negated. So the not, so we're going to use this column, not and not, and we have the or, so we kind of get to choose, but false and false is going to be false. False and true, there's our true to help us out with the or. True and false, again, we've got at least one true in there, and then both true is going to be true overall. All right, and then our last one, we're going to do the and that's going to be with both of our negated. So false and false, they're both false, so we're false. False and true, we got that false one bringing us down. True and false, again, the false bringing us down. And then true and true, yay, they're both true, so we have to include both, remember, in the and, so that would be true. Takes a little practice, but you'll get better at it.